Hi everybody. So let's get things started here. If you're new to the workshops that we run here, we're basically going to be deep diving into specific characters. There's all sorts of different approaches we could take to a workshop like this. So it's really important to get feedback from you guys. What sort of stuff you want to see, and in order to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to come over to Midjourney, and on the left hand side, you will see that. Why is it not letting me hide these servers? That's okay. On the left hand side here, you just scroll down and you'll see VC Text and VC Create. We are currently on the stage here. So if you click on VC Text, that's where you can chat with me on here on the left side. And you can see, hey, Legal Beagle, thank you. Yeah, I am excited to start playing around with this new mic. And if you go to VC Create, which is just below VC Text, that's actually where we're going to be prompting things together. So if you have a prompt or a character that you're working with, you're welcome to post it in VC Create, and we'll just kind of riff off each other. I very much encourage y'all to just kind of, have fun with it, and we're pretty loosey goosey here. So just if you want to see something remixed or changed around, let's do it. I want to hear from you, and I wanted to thank you guys also for the week off. I had my 20th anniversary, and it was a very, like, we stayed home. We had a little bit of a staycation and stuff, and we're pretty thankful we did, because we ended up getting sick like almost immediately afterwards. So it's at this point it was great. It was great to be able to get that week off, and to get a clear head and stuff. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank you all so much. So let's begin by first explaining that whenever we're doing like characters and stuff here, it only takes one image now, thanks to character referencing, in order for us to essentially save our characters in Midjourney, like have them show up inside of our prompts. But you're going to see me also using something called /prefer. And /prefer is a way that we can essentially save our characters inside of our accounts. So what you're going to do is, after you have either one image of a URL of a character, or you have a whole character sheet. I'll get into that in a minute. If you have multiple links, basically, you can now save them all as basically one name. So it's really easy to give a character identity and then keep reusing that character. And yeah, we'll start by first establishing a character that we want to use. I have a Discord dedicated to basically sharing and remixing each other's characters, eventually to have the goal of putting it all into one narrative of sorts. And it's a little congested here with the way that the projects work in Discord, but basically, there's been some amazing characters that have been submitted by y'all, and I'll get to it, Rhapsody. I'll get to it. I just need to actually get some links here. So I Troll for You actually made this awesome potion guy here. Yeah, you see that I'm talking about you. And this potion guy, like the results within Phantasma, I'm loving this character. I showed him to a couple people that are working a little bit behind the scenes of my fantasy stories here, and they're just loving this. Like they're loving just the intensity of this character and stuff. And these little drawings are so cute too. Yeah, woo! I mostly want to show you guys, though, that you can see that there is a couple different prompts that have been set up by the users here, and they're all just submitting them as projects here on the Discord. So we're gonna take these three links here. So it's a big witch cauldron where the potion is coming alive is the actual prompt, and then there's a CREF attached to it. There's a couple others that you can also just use the one image above. Okay, yeah, cool. So essentially, there's plenty of material here that has been provided for just this one character, as well as plenty of like backstory and lore. And I love that you guys are doing all that. That's so cool. Um, but what I mostly want here is just those links. If you see that these three links are from the results that they had produced, and they based on preference and the results that you're getting, you might see some variations in style. We hone all that style back with a style reference later. But for now, just getting these three links is what I mostly wanted to show you guys, is that we can now come into here, and I usually don't include the parameter like CREF or anything like that. I just include the links. And then we'll pop back over to Midjourney here in order to do a /prefer. And you can do this anywhere because it's attached to your account, but we're going to do a /prefer. And the character's name is Malus, so I'm just going to put Malus here. And I should double check the spelling, but it's okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit value and then paste those three links into the value. Or however many links make up your character. So we're just going to hit enter on that, and that will effectively save Malus to my account. And yeah, and Rhapsody actually makes a good point here. If you are using the alpha site, the prefer options are a Discord thing. So if you're using the alpha site a lot, there's a couple of features that there's also like unique benefits to the alpha site too. Like you can do some pretty unique stuff when it comes to like where you zoom out from. That's just something you can't do on Discord. But yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and now use Malus, and we'll just prompt him or it by itself first, and then introduce style referencing in order to kind of hone in all that stuff. So let's go ahead and say it is just a witch's brew black cauldron come alive kind of thing, right? So let's do black cauldron comes alive, and I'll just leave it at that for now. And we will set the CREF to those links, so that's the character reference. Before character referencing, we essentially were doing image blending. And image blending is where you're essentially finding the midpoint between URLs, like between images. And and by including words in that, you essentially include all of the latent space that is surrounding those words as well, all blending together. Character referencing doesn't do that. It essentially is a control for forcing a character into the prompt, and so I can now just see that those links are all available, just by pasting them. But I can also now just write -- Malus, and it'll do the exact same thing. It'll basically just replace wherever I put Malus, and have it be, oh hey, hello, but it'll replace whatever was in that value, or replace Malus with whatever was in that value. So you could see we got the result right here. And already there's some like real fun, like kind of like characters that are, being pulled out from the cauldron. Sometimes the cauldron's the character itself, all sorts of stuff. These are the things you're going to be tweaking, especially if your character deviates from a humanoid. Anyone that's played around with character referencing so far has probably recognized that, depending on how alien your character is, the less reliable it is to produce. But that'll be something that improves over time. So the Legal Beagle wrote a tweak to the prompt and wrote a big witch cauldron where the potion is coming alive, saying, "Bow before me, minions." And the bow before me, minions, the thing is that it needs to say that reads "bow before me, minions," not saying, because there's I've noticed that there's at least in my experience, I could be wrong here, but when you say it's saying those quotes, sometimes it won't take it like, oh, I want a speech bubble, but instead, here's a mouth shape that might evoke saying those words. So I will re-roll this really quick, and I am going to write that reads, coming alive, that reads, let's see here, a big cauldron where the potion is coming alive, that with a speech bubble, you see, it's important to be particular about this, with a speech bubble that reads, "Bow before me, minions." This, especially since V6, it's so much more important with to be really particular about your wording, and especially like having full sentence structure is really helpful now. In V5, it was far less important. You just put commas between every kind of core subject that you want inside of your result. But now you can evoke like specific statements and very clear wording, to what you want. So even though it can screw up the text sometimes, now we have a speech bubble of the thing saying the thing. Way better than it was before, right? In terms of having the intent of that character saying those words. Uh, Before me, minions, like it's not the full sentence yet. We can easily just in paint around that area and finish the sentence. Whatever we want to do. And I see Rhapsody has combined Rio and Malus together. Rio is her OC. And I love the whole like AI persona thing where like everyone just kind of has their own little like character that represents themselves. Mine is Victor, right? But I have a couple, depending on the mood, that I have. An example will be like Vicky. For so like we can actually evoke Vicky, with Malice here. She what Rhapsody is doing is actually combining her character inside of the character reference with Malice. So all of it blends together, and then becomes the reference for basically like the character in there. So you would in order to know what the actual character that it's injecting at this moment, you probably should do an image blend of just these URLs just to see what your results are, and that's actually what's going to be used for the reference. And so either Niji or V6 depending on your preference there, but whatever this result is the reference that's used when you do the character reference. So look how cute this is with Rhapsody's OC mixed in with the kind of Mimikyu eyes and everything else. Like it's a very cute result that we get out of this, but this becomes the character that is referenced. There's no weighting of the individual links or anything like that. It's just that's what it is. So what if we wanted to have a character like mixing the cauldron, like that kind of thing? Well, we can either in paint it, or we can request for a character to be, next to or beside the cauldron, and then in paint the character. Is a little more reliable to essentially make a puppet. My background is visual effects for Robot Chicken, and various other stop motion studios back in Hollywood. It's been a long time since I worked in Hollywood, but what I will say is that being familiar with puppetry actually is a really great skill here, because it means that you're able to like see the end result as more like a mannequin, or like essentially what we would always do is in order to save money and to make productions quickly, we would put a little dot on the face instead of animate the mouths manually, so that we would then do it digitally. So a lot of the Robot Chicken mouths are what are called digital replacement, or digital mouths. And you wouldn't know just by looking at it, but most what looks like little paper craft lips, like that kind of thing, it's actually just a JPEG that I was swapped in there in order to represent like different faces and different mouths. And that allowed for improv and allowed for a lot of like creative expression that wasn't really done very often with stop mo before robot, just because like it was too costly. You had to go back, and the reshoots are so much more money for stop mo than it is for a lot of other franchises, and I mean mediums for shooting stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're basically going to create a puppet of a character to be beside or with the with Malice here. So let's see. This is a good one. The orb one here. We'll do this as a variation subtle. I think no, a strong will do better because it'll completely change the composition. So a big witch cauldron where the potion is coming alive, and I'm gonna get rid of the speech bubble part. And a witch with long let's see, like ponytail and big round glasses. I'm basically just describing my my gender bent OC really quick, with long ponytail and big round glasses. I'm going to say dark ponytail, just because she has blackened eyes there. And I am going to actually get rid of Malus for now. I'm just doing a variation strong of this result. So we're essentially like we're already evoking a lot of Malus already in here. We're gonna try to get the other character in there. Look at that. Okay. All right. So this is gonna work well, I think. So what we're essentially doing here is we're going to combine the CREFs to be able to evoke both characters now because we've created two puppets using variation strong. And so first one I'm gonna do is Malus. So let's do a variation of region, and I am just going to select where I believe Malus's face is. So let's do it around here, and then I will add CREF and then Malus. Hyphen hyphen CREF hyphen hyphen Malus because I have him saved in my account, and then we will just submit that. And then based on the results of that, we either, tweak it, make changes, that kind of thing. But most likely, it's just going to be a matter of selecting the general regions of where we want things to be. And then, whether or not we're happy with the results is based on how picky we are. So let's see. People say I evoke Malus in them constantly. Yeah, it is a role of a moderator, right? We have to. You guys gotta. Okay, wait. Let me veer off here really quick because I feel like I'm gonna ramble. Um. Yeah, it's definitely one of those days for me. Thank you. If it's a bit rough, I'm sorry, guys. Not only am I working with some new equipment here, I'm getting off of a vacation, so I might be a little rough around the corners. But let's go ahead and because we did a in paint. In paints are less reliable for character referencing, but it really comes down to sometimes even the data set that we're using. So we're going to switch it from V6 to Niji 6, and that will evoke a more cartoonish result. And also just generally probably be more in line with what is already made for Malus because the reference images, I believe, are all Niji results. It should just be more reliable for what we want to do. Sorry, I got lost. How do you do that with Malus, or where can I read to do that? Okay, yeah, sure. So when it comes to slash prefer, you just write slash prefer and then write a name for a character and then post those links as the value for it. So it looks like this: slash prefer, option set, make up a name for your character. Doesn't really matter. You're just gonna make it easy for you to type, and then in the value here, you're gonna post all the links for that character. That's how I saved Malus here. And look at that. All right, you guys are already selecting, the ones that make sense for you there. So like that's great. So let's go ahead and work off of one of these. I'm going to say this one here, and now we will work on the second puppet, Vicky. So I'll just go ahead and generally select this region here, and you want to make sure that, especially with the humanoid, like we could get away, we could fudge a lot when it comes to a smoke monster, or a potion monster like this. But when it comes to humans, particularly their clothing and the shadows are going to heavily evoke the result. So like if your character is going to be reaching for something, for example, the position of their shoulders is going to change as much as their hands are. The entire anatomy of the character needs to be taken into account. So for this example, if I select this and I wanted her to do something different with her hands, I want to make sure that the underside of her wrist, her clothes are also selected here. And because her hoodie, like this little back loop here of the hood is there, that means that almost always it's going to evoke that her shoulders are going to be somewhere around here. If I would select that backside as well, it could do a lot. It could do a lot just by changing little bits, like by selecting little bits of the image here. Really evokes the final result. So we're going to go with this. And because I have Vicky also saved in my account, I can now just hyphen Vicky, and that will evoke Vicky. in the results. So being able to quickly play around with characters like this is just too much fun. And I can see that Legal Beagle already brought up another character from our Discord. This is what is his name again? Like it's not Krampus. It's Kringus. I have to look it up. But the thing is that the grumpy, yeah, he's a very grumpy guy. Kravis, yes, thank you, Felix. Yeah, Felix's Kravis character is awesome. And it's just like a fiery redhead guy that shoots fireballs at everything. And you could see here that the result we got Vicky. Vicky is very very well represented here, but doesn't make sense, right? At all. It breaks a lot of the model here because they're dissimilar. Like we're jumping from V6 to Niji. There's a couple of things that are going to be causing this sort of photo bash look. So let's try a couple of things first. We know that we have a fantasy character that we're working with here. The oh yes yes Selber Selberg Mosh. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name there. But yeah, VC Create is where we're making things and prompting things. You're welcome to remix anything you like that you see, as well as include your own characters inside of the prompts that we're doing now. And VC Text is where you're typing with me. So if you want to see your username pop up on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, it'll show up on the left side of the screen here. If you miss any of the streams, you can catch them on YouTube. Usually within a week or two. Sometimes I'm pretty bad about it when it comes to uploading on time. So it will eventually end up there, I promise. But let's go ahead and make Vicky the actually kind of blend in there. So let's go ahead and come up and we will remix. Not if we hit reroll, it's not going to do it. It's not going to make the changes we want. It'll just try this again and fail the same way. So we need to come back up, and you can do that very easily by selecting the top of the prompt here. That will shoot you right back up to whatever prompt you were working on before. And we will now hit vary region again. And we can address this in a couple ways. If we were like, okay, the skin tone is like perfect, but we don't want the rest of it to become a suit, then we're going to deselect the arm and preserve as much of the outfit from the puppet as possible. But I want to actually try to get Midjourney to be as creative as possible to merge these concepts together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply a character weight. So that's hyphen hyphen CW and then 0. That means absolutely you can go up to 100. 100 is the default. If you put it to 0, it's like going to be a very loose inspiration of that character as opposed to a literal interpretation of the character. You may see a lot of deviation, you may see a lot of changes that you don't expect. Oh, is 50 the default? Oh, okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. Is that the case? I have to look up those parameters.
Default.
100 is default. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. This is why it's important to have you guys here. I love having hey, look, it's Blobby. But yeah, having Ancient and all the guys, all you guys, Kinky, everybody keeps the facts straight, because it's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of things that we're trying to keep up with, and even I'm having trouble sometimes keeping up. So take a look at this though, okay? By setting the character weight to 0, look what happened. It blended the character more appropriately to inside of the prompt. It literally did exactly what I wanted it to do. Because I allowed Midjourney the creative freedom to do whatever with my character, but just to remain inspired by it, right? Yeah, thank you for the link for that, Familia. Like, it's you could find most of the information on the docs.midjourney.com. But it is certainly true that there's sometimes not even like hard rules for things either. Like when we start talking about style variations and stuff, people are still experimenting and learning how to use that stuff as well, because it's really dependent on the prompt that you write. Okay, so let's take a look at the result that we got here with Vicky. I like the one with the wrist where we can see a little bit of her wrist color here. And you could see the result that we got out of that was great for accomplishing the goal of naturally blending these two characters together to be in the same spot. And you might be wondering, like, okay, that was a good amount of work to get one image, right? And you know, traditional artistry, this would have taken a lot longer than that. So I take statements like that with a grain of salt when it comes to you know, the efficiency of what we're doing. But I want you guys to explore now what you can do with puppets, basically. Like, thinking of it as the first result is not the final image that you're going to get. In fact, you should rarely use the first result you get from Midjourney, but instead use it as like a an inspirational starting point, or even a rough of it, as opposed to the final result. And that's all because variation subtle and variation strong with character referencing is now insanely powerful at recontextualizing the images. So we'll get into that a little bit later when it comes to trying to, say, re-envision existing shots and stuff. And Legal Beagle is showing off a little bit of the predictive comic paneling, where we basically say, hey, make a comic for me with my characters by using custom zoom. We do this all over the place with my comics and with my workflow, and seeing you guys just do it without issue is just so cool. So easy, yeah, easy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show off the custom paneling first, and then we're gonna get into our fun challenge for today. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hit custom zoom, and then you could choose to keep the current character reference if you want. It really depends on, you know, what you want to accomplish with the story that you're telling. But for now, I'm just going to take away the character prompt entirely. Just so that we get as little for, like, we're basically allowing as much creative freedom for Midjourney at this point. So I'm going to start the prompt off with multiple comic panels depicting. Okay, so that's essentially what I'm telling Midjourney is, like, either I want a scene that's depicting this, or I want a comic panel that's depicting this. You're essentially choosing the medium at the start of the prompt. Doesn't really matter where it is in the prompt, honestly. It just matters that it's saying that you're asking for what you want. If you want to make a webcomic, you're asking for a webcomic, so on and so forth. You don't have to do that, but it does help a lot when it comes to doing what we're doing now, which is giving it the intent of giving our intent for the prompt. So multiple comic panels depicting a big witch cauldron where the potion is coming alive, and a witch with long. We don't need to describe the character anymore because it's inside of the prompt. So let's give it an event. Let's give a something that happens here. A big witch cauldron that explodes. Let's see. It explodes purple. Robot Victor, huh? Or is it just, it's just you? I'm sorry. That would be a Discord thing. Probably a drop in your bandwidth or something like that for a moment. Multiple compounds depicting a big witch cauldron that explodes with purple potion all over the room. Sure. Let's just do that. And the important thing here is that if I just submit this as is, it's going to expand it at the exact same aspect ratio, just 2 times the size, and we don't really necessarily want that yet. Instead, we're going to try to get it to be as inspired as possible with what's existing inside of the canvas by switching the zoom to 1. This will make sure that the zooming doesn't expand out left or right. It's just gonna, be as static as possible. But in order to get this to be interesting, we actually need to give it a new aspect ratio. The current one is 3:2. Let's try making it a tall comic, right? Something a little bit more evoking of, like, maybe a cell phone screen, right? So let's do a webcomic at 2:5. Okay, and then I'll hit submit to that. And essentially what's going to happen here is it's going to guess at what the previous and the next comic panel would be for that particular prompt result. So we'll let this kind of do its thing here. All right, let's take a look. So I need to open this up in full screen so that's a little easier for you guys to see. But what essentially it's doing here is it's trying to draw inspiration from what's currently in your prompt, right? So we have, sorry, my bad. What's it's trying to be inspired by what's currently in your prompt. So that means that this image of Vicky, with her hand up to the potion to Malus here, it's looking at that, it expands upward and goes, okay, cauldron, smoky, whatever. Like maybe this is the birth of it or whatever. And you also have, again, a Vicky-like puppet that I can always improve or change or anything like that, holding a little like Halloween cauldron, just because it's there's some sort of interrogation that's happening here that essentially gives it the contextual knowledge to know, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just pull these assets and we'll try to make something that looks like a comic, right? And look, we have Malus again, without ever evoking Malus with character referencing or anything like that. This is essentially how you allow for like maximum creativity without a lot of intent or control, because you're really just asking for comic panels, and then whatever's additional in your prompt kind of leans the result that way. So the reason is this in paint failed is because the information that was in the image that I accidentally left and corrected in this one. All right, I'll check that out in a minute. All right. But what we want to kind of take a look here is these results are cool. There's a lot of inspiration from what we were working off, which is really neat to see. But what we want to also explore is the stylized parameter in order to start to evoke exactly how much inspiration it takes from what's already in the comic, or sorry, what's already in the prompt to what we get as a result. And so I'm just going to re-roll this. But I'm going to set the style to first, let's do 50. And then let's do it again. But this time we're going to set the style to 500. And I'll do it for laughs here at 1,000, which is the max. Though I say for laughs because it rarely actually like honors anything that's in the original prompt by maxing out the stylized feature there. And it's certainly true that as you're doing this stuff, you're gonna find preferences like that. I know somebody that exclusively uses like Chaos 42, and it makes no difference at that point. It makes no, like, Chaos is basically ignore massive amounts of my prompt just to give me an interesting image. But stylized, though, lets us be able to hone in exactly how, not exactly, but it lets us hone in much more closely the amount of work Midjourney does to make your image, or at least to apply like a creative intent to your results. So it makes it beautiful, or it makes it whatever. I'm sure that could be or said to me in a better way, but I want you guys to be able to take a look at the resulting differences here. First, let's take a look at the 50. Okay, 50. Anything low is going to, in my experience, be one, more honoring of whatever's in the original prompt, right? But also kind of just be funnier. The lower the stylized number is, the more funny the results are. So look at even though she doesn't have her glasses, because again, it's not trying hard. If she doesn't have her glasses, we'll be able to put it back. But look at the way her hair, like, it's an explosion from Malus, like pff, Malus is born or whatever. I love that we're getting all that hair effect, and it's still honoring like her head shape, her ears, like that kind of stuff. Very cool. And look, there's an explosion there of the cauldron. You're more than welcome, obviously, to like combine panels. Look, there she is in the pot, in the cauldron. There she is, like, as a more chibi-like character. Oh, that's almost a full body of her stirring it. You could just do a couple tweaks with this one and be able to get. It's so cool to work with low stylized parameter to be able to essentially say, don't change too much. I want to keep the context about the same. So let's check out what the higher numbers do now. So we'll set this at which one is 50 here? Oh, that's right, it's up here. So at 500, okay, that is, the halfway point between max and minimum. Look at what it did with her. It made, at least with this bottom right result, she's chibi, looks gorgeous, but it doesn't look like Vicky, right? If you want to honor your characters in the way they look and you want to do less work when it comes to in painting and character referencing, the higher your stylized number is, the more work you're going to do to bring those characters back. But you get amazing results like this, where there's, Malus with 3 eyes as this big spooky, background demon, and all sorts of other effects. The problem is that there's little intent there. Like you're going to be either inspired and want to keep making it based on the results of this, or you're just going to move on because it's too complicated. It's too it put too much work into it. This is a gorgeous result though, with the book right in the front, with all like her little shoes are so cute, like things like that. I love about exploring higher stylized to like give me a jumping off point for some of the more gorgeous results that we can get out of this. And now let's check out 1000, which is the maximum amount you can have for stylize. And stylize is, you can see, like, look at this. They don't look like her at all. It's kind of like the characters combined together, and Vicky now has a child with Malus. That it's this demon of a thing. It kind of looks like Victor's hair here. That's kind of cute. But yeah, oh wow, that's actually a really cute character. I'm gonna save this one really quick. Boop. But that's the thing. Sometimes you'll find gems by doing this, and you'll just get a style that you really like. Let's see, Swan prompted this here, and it's just a word only prompt, so there's no character referencing in this. It's useful to do word only prompts because it lets you know, like, the range that Midjourney is going to be, kind of applying to your image here. So you can see, look at the kind of circuitry style magic where these little dots and lines attaching to it. That's super cool. And we have more of a psychedelic result on the top right. That range, right, is largely what I'm doing when I'm trying to explore with word only prompts. Because I'm oftentimes like, I need my character inside of my comic or whatever. That's important. Like, that's where my priorities are. But when it comes to like actually understanding how Midjourney works, you have to have that time also understanding its own kind of mediocrity of sorts. Like, okay, yeah, it's a cauldron, so there has to be a skull next to it, like that kind of stuff. What if it's a cute kitschy witch, and there isn't anything spooky or off-putting about it? Probably wouldn't have a skull next to it, right? Those sort of biases are what you're going to be like seeing and kind of navigating around as you start making comic prompts. But you can see here that even as a variation strong, the comic panels go away because the composition isn't really saved. But it has, look how gorgeous like the results are though. Variation strong is just some amazing stuff when it comes to like creating completely original good works. But it takes having a template for it to like really look good, like to really do well. And you can see the result of this as a variation strong from this. Okay, so they essentially hit the reroll button, and they or they hit V3 or any one of the other variation buttons, and they essentially applied their own style reference here, and that's based off of their own code here. I'll get into that on a different stream. I have to catch myself up on style random. But if we take a look at what some of you guys are doing, like I troll for you here, they did the same thing, word only prompt with a zoom of 1, but they put the aspect ratio at 1:3, and they used Niji 5 instead of Niji 6. So they downstepped on the version of Midjourney in order to evoke a different amount of like a different kind of referencing. It's it there if you're a power user like I troll for you and some of the other folks that are that hang out here with us, you'll get used to certain versions of Midjourney, how they work, the logic that's used to build them, that kind of thing. And one of the quirks about Niji 5 is that it's just very good at honoring whatever's in your canvas. While V6, you probably want to apply some parameters like the stylize I showed earlier to more evoke what was already in your canvas. So less new works and more works that are alike the results that I had before. So like an example up here for if you look here, with the Niji 5 expansion, it completely like made new characters. Like there's a couple of new contextual stuff. It's like she's cooking in a kitchen now, that kind of thing. But with V6 and stylized, you can get a little more control, a little more fidelity out of what you're doing, but you can also veer in a direction that's completely wild and different because of just some quirk within your prompt. It's a little hard to explain sometimes, but I'm very curious to hear from you guys. What sort of characters you want to see in a stream like this? And we have a way to submit characters that I'll probably slowly phasing out over time, just because we have the Chaos Portal now. I would love for you guys to actually prompt the Chaos Portal itself. I think that would be a lot of fun. Probably a character like Malus, right? Like a sentient magic of some sort. But I would love for it to be like the character that is the portal, right? That is the way to enter into the fantasy world that we are building together. Which is a perfect segue for me to talk about Phantasma. So one of the things, at least for me, whenever I see you guys making stuff, I always kind of think about like purpose, like why are we doing it? You know what I mean? Like, are we making art? Are we feeling like expression? Are we do we want validation? Like what is the reason why we're doing this stuff? And I think we want to put it to good use. That we want it to be towards a hopefully like a singular effort, like something where we can all put our muscle behind it and really make something new and interesting that not only is fun, but also helps people. I want to be able to help people. So I'm excited to see where this project goes. But this is a perfect transition for me to talk about Phantasma. So Kinky already linked my server inside of VC Text. You're welcome to join it. But essentially, Phantasma is the style reference for the fantasy series that we will be building together. For the last year, you guys have been submitting to something called the Black Box, which is essentially a Google document that lets you be able to answer questions about a particularly violent duck, and you do it in character. You do it as a response, so we know whether or not you want to make a villain or a hero or someone in the middle that might go either way. Whatever you want to do. And the Black Box actually gave us a lot of data, and you're welcome to put your email there or not. Doesn't matter. That I only use your email in order to let you know that I used your character inside of the one of the stories or whatever. But the essentially what happens with the Google form here is that it gives us a bunch of data about the kind of content you guys want us to make. And what we eventually found out was that that you guys really just want to be fantasy, like shoot lightning bolts and be wizards at each other. The fantasy category blew up, easily the most popular, even over sci-fi and whatnot. So we had a We had a couple of fun guest stars here. I had Bay Rate from the Lord of the Rings trilogy here. He was the guy who designed Gollum's face for the original trilogy. You can watch his interview also on my YouTube channel. But we sat down for like 4 hours here on this stream, and we just, talked everything from AI to whatever. Like, it was so many different things. But the having him on here with his background and whatnot was a huge boost to a lot of the kind of projects that we wanted to produce, and just to start telling an original fantasy story. Thank you so much for those links, Kinky. I appreciate it. They're all inside VC text. So essentially, if you join the Discord, you're going to see that there's something called the Fantasy Nexus. And that Nexus is where all of the official content for the series is. That includes the style references, a couple of character references as well. So if you want to, like, explore potentially official content, then there you go. You can start to use the nards, the Nomen nards, or you can reference the book, which is a magical book for the series. There's all sorts of parts to this that essentially lets us enter Phantasma with your characters. So the we'll get into the actual city here in a moment, but the way this all works is by using a shared style reference, or the same image as our style reference. And so I have two of them here. I have the core one, which includes a a low depth of field, which essentially blurs details and makes it so that you can create really tall or really short characters. And it does a lot of other stuff too. And then the upper half of this is the core style reference. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post this inside of VC Create, so you guys have that. But there's also another one here, which is the without the low depth of field. And this is the one where if you don't want to evoke like extreme height differences, or you don't want your character to be like staring straight up or staring straight down kind of thing, you probably want to use something that's more eye level or more even. And that's what this image will do. So I'm going to include that one as well. And essentially, if you use either one of these images as the style reference, your character is now in Phantasma. That's it. Took a lot of work to figure this crap out, honestly, guys. It took a lot of work, a lot of tweaking of this image. I think I spent at least a good hour on just the cobblestones and getting the blurring to be give me the results that I want. So this is like 8 different iterations in, so on and so forth. I put a lot of work into this. But essentially, what this lets us do is we can now grab, we'll hop back over to VC Create so you guys can see this in action here. We will create a scenario. So let's do running through the streets of the Gnome Kingdom. Sure, let's just write that. Then I'm going to write sref, hyphen sref for style reference, and then paste the link to Phantasma. If you include a character reference right now, your character will be inside of Phantasma. So let's do one that we have inside of the Fantasy Nexus here. So let's go to my Discord here, grab Gnome, and there's a couple of fun like remixes, like Legal Beagle, when he was creating his character, he just recolored the existing gnome chart and then made his own, gender bent version of that. But we're just going to grab the base reference here, which is just one image for gnome here, and pop back over to Midjourney. And we are going to include a character reference for gnome, paste that in here. And then I'll also set it to 0 just so that we get maximum creativity when it comes to like what kind of gnome, probably girl, will come out of this. But and then I'll set the aspect ratio to 3:2, which is like a bit wider than a standard square result. The Phantasma style reference will essentially evoke similar architecture and a vibe to all the results that come out of it. So when you guys have characters that interact with each other, you can believably paste them together. And look at this. Okay, so our initial results here from Phantasma, we can see that by referencing gnome very loosely, we essentially start to populate the city with random gnomes, random little gnome children and things like that. She looks pretty young with gnome V2. So we can increase the referencing. So let's put it to 50. And we will just start to see our characters showing up more and more and more. And to be in the likeness of her by increasing the character weight. You'll notice that by not using Niji, we tend to get more volumetric depth things. It's really how you like branch out of the more static flat results that you get with Niji is just by staying within V6. But for the sake of demonstration, I will also do Niji here. Which, yeah, as you can see, look at what I troll for you did here. With the character weight of 0 and set to Niji, it's suddenly a like an animated film, which is, you know, what we're going to be aiming towards. But when it comes to making like interesting spaces, like interesting new places to explore within Phantasma, you can stay within V6. It's really just a matter of what your preferences are. The styles are close enough that we can essentially say one's during the day and one is like, you know, one is a little later. Like it's you get a little more variety out of the V6 results versus the Niji results in that regard. But you could see that the Niji results with a little bit higher character weight set at 50, it's our character. It's Gnome walking around Phantasma and stuff. So, and it says running through the streets of the the Gnome Kingdom. None of these are particularly evoking like fast-paced running, right? So we probably want to lower our character weight until the character is properly running, or we want to, use a character reference that includes gnome running in order to evoke that even better. So in order to do that, inside of the story nexus here, the fantasy nexus, you'll also see that she has a full character sheet. My classes focus a lot on making these sheets. They're still very important even with character referencing being a thing. And the reason why that is because this is essentially how you're going to get to your intent so much quicker by having a library of poses for your character that is accurate, that you've spent time at cleaning up. And even this sheet isn't perfect. Like the tiny gnomes that are here are not in style to the rest of them, but it gave me all my poses. It gave me all of my my orientations of the character that I needed in order to tell most of the stories I wanted to tell. You'll notice that she has one where she's doing a handstand. This is one of the harder things to do with your character, is to get them to not be like statically standing up with their head above and with their head below their waist. Like, this is actually a really hard result to get. And the way you do it is by puppeting, by asking not for the character reference at the start, but for a generic gnome to be handstand, standing on her hands, and then replace parts of that gnome until you create your character. Okay. The character sheet here lets us be able to select any part of it and go, okay, yes, I want to reference that instead. So for the running, right, we probably want to grab one where she's, in a much more faster pace here. So there's actually one where she's doing the whole like cartoonish 3-legged run, right? This character running like this, you could use Photoshop for a better result, but we're just going to copy that. And then inside of VC text here, VC create. You guys are already going ham with this, which is awesome. It's so cool to see. Okay, yeah, we'll go through all that here in a minute. but I want to find the result. Yes, so we see here that we have the character referencing as just this one image of gnome. Okay, and she's not running. She's in a kind of a power pose, honestly. So it's taking that image of her and changing it, warping it, recontextualizing it so that it what is it? So that it is um trying to match your prompt. But if we give it an image that is far closer to our prompt, the running, right? So we're just going to paste this in here. What it's going to do is it's more likely. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. I'm skipping steps here. I need to actually paste that image in here so that I can then get a link. My bad. So we grab an image here of gnome running like this. It's goofy. It's goofy, cartoonish run. But we grab the link for this image now that I posted it in Discord here. Scroll back on up to our result that we got. Okay, this one here. And now I can replace the character reference entirely. It won't really look like her as much because it's just using that one picture. But instead, I'm going to include both images. Okay, so we have the master reference and then the one image from the character sheet that I pulled of her doing the cartoonish run. This is probably going to give us a funky result. We'll see what it does. We may need to evoke that she's actually doing the cartoonish run. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look. Oh wow. Okay, yes. So she has her foot much more extended now. Look at that. All right, let's up-res the third one here. Now it's gonna start looking like the simplistic minimalist chibi one that I included in the reference, but now she's properly running. Now her legs are fully extended, and that only was in one result, like out of all these. So we can come back again and then lower the character weight. Let's do like 20 instead of 50. But even just getting a result like this is because we are combining this image and this image. By combining these two images, look what it did with her legs. Her legs are more splayed out now because it's more like this image by blending these two together. So let's take a look. Oh, look, she's like almost floating in this one. Yeah, essentially when it comes to like remixing this stuff, you probably want to start evoking more of like how she's running. So we could say, that she's exhausted, for example, like exhausted and running at full speed, and then we'll submit that. This additional context helps a ton when it comes to trying to evoke whatever you're sort of going for there. Oh, what are you doing here? Did you take that one handstand? Yes, you did. Okay. And see, you could start to learn. You could start to get like an instinct for this stuff based on the results that you get. You start to see patterns and things. And I knew that they're doing the handstand one just based off of what I was seeing. Look, she's like falling into the sauce. That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys now how to use this as the puppet. Okay, so we have her character reference in here. It was set to 0 in order to evoke the most amount of creative freedom on the posing, and also like clothing and all the other little details. We're gonna switch that to 100 now, but I'm inside of Remix. I need to go to Variation Region, and then we'll set this to 100. Character weight 100. And you can see it doesn't matter. Giant and cauldron are spelled wrong, but it really doesn't matter that much. But I'm going to correct it real quick. Cauldron. Okay. And now we are going to select everything that isn't gnome, everything that doesn't look like gnome. She's got the braids, which is great, but the braids are also not like, if she was falling, her braids would be up in the air, right? So in order to basically say, I don't want this to be here, we just tightly mask it. So we're going to come really close to the hair and then come back up. And a tight mask will often delete things. A loose mask will add things. And that's just based on patterns. Like there's no like steadfast hard way to do this. I would love for there to be a scale feature where I could say, I want my character to be real tiny inside of this prompt. That would be amazing. It's yes, Malus is the product of dissolving gnomes into the sauce. But you can see generally I'm selecting this here. Gnome doesn't really wear socks, but it's fine for what we're doing. I'm just gonna leave that as is. And now we've selected all the area that doesn't look like her. The face, I'm gonna keep it for now because I just don't want too much variation to happen at this point. I really just want to be able to say, hey, give me the right clothes. Try to be, each subject at a time. Don't try to change entire characters all at once. You probably won't have as much fun doing that. But now I'm going to take her master reference here, and I'm just going to replace the character reference with this. Because right now it's the handstand, and I just swapped it for the base reference here. And because I left her foot in the air there, it there's a good chance that it will do what we're expecting it to do, which is replace the outfit. I'm loving all the municipal gnomes. Of course I am, Legal Beagle. It's good to see all that stuff here. But look at the run here. She's more, again, her legs are splayed out. She's properly in motion now, as opposed to standing there with a lean. It's great. Oh hey Enid. It's good to see you. I do like socks though. I'm gonna wave at you. The team no socks, right? Yeah, I wear socks all. I like to be comfy. I like wearing thick socks even when it's summer. I don't mind getting a little bit sweaty feet just so they stay comfortable. But let's look at what the results are of doing the character referencing. And if you look here, like we have her in a green outfit, right? But it was way too strict because it was set to 100. So the like her hat turns into her waist, and yeah, it's a couple issues here. So what we can do is come back up to the prompt, hit vary region, and I'm actually going to drop the character weight to 80, just a little bit. Like, we're going to go for a 20% reduction in cohesion of the character here, and that should get us a little better, a little closer. I avoid foot prisons of all varieties. Good. The idea of calling your shoe a foot prison is beautiful. I'll have to keep that knowledge is now in my head forever. Wait, are you trying to make a wheelbarrow? That might be a good segment into the challenge for today. I'll take a look at that in a minute. So you guys are just talking about feet stuff. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on from feet. And look what happens when we lower the character reference here. It still has her hair about in the same spot, but at least her outfit is more in line with what the result is. So if we're happy with any part of it, we should move on with that result, not the result we had before, in order to continuously make progress. So hey, look at that. Adding the wheelbarrow in there worked. That's awesome. So this lets me get into and Legal Beagle has a whole rant about tools and understanding how Midjourney intent actually works. As Ancient starts prompting me, I love the chaos of this stream. I love it's hard for me to keep up, but I love it. I love how random and odd. Talking about feet stuff. Exactly. Okay, all right. I gotta up-res this one. Anytime it's just like, take a look at this foot. I find it hilarious. Talking about look, it says it on the text. It's just talking about feet stuff on the top, right above my head there. That's great. Feet prison. Oh no, it's a foot stream again. Oh no. But I want to show you guys something. You guys have fun with that. Also, I really like the fact that he has one, two, three, four, five, six toes. Victor canonically has six fingers and six toes. He's an AI. He's a living AI disclaimer, so he needs to have the six fingers. I think that's just too funny. Um, this is a great result. I really like this. But I want to show you guys something here. So inside of the Phantasma SREF here, I'm gonna grab the link again here. So what you could do is we are going to hop into my Discord and we are going to grab Phantasma. And inside of Phantasma, I actually have an asset of Phantasma, which is this floaty city, the like this city on a floating ground orb. We are going to use this as our character reference for today. And I love the results that come off of this, so I'm very curious what you guys do with this. I've posted it in VC text. I will now grab it in VC create. But the results that it does, it lets us make the city fly around and evoke like a true fantasy, original fantasy experience. And the only thing I did for this prompt was say floating above the dark fantasy valley. That's all I said. And then I applied it as a character reference. It is V6. So again, the volumetrics are going to be all over the place. It's going to be really cool to see. But we'll hop on over to VC create and see what happens when we use this inanimate object as a character. Okay. Because I have started using like books, weapons, like all sorts of other things as characters. And the results you get out of it are really interesting. So let's try this. We're going to do --CREF and then paste the link for the floating city here. Thank you. And then we will say, talking about feet stuff, it's just going to be feet on a on a building. That's exactly what it is. Okay, so we're gonna do let's do floating above Venice, California. Why not? Just give it a location. And then I won't even worry about an EG6. So you could see that I troll for you's like initial result out of it. It immediately tries to put the city into the location. I don't think he said floating city crashing into the Eiffel Tower. There you go. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. It's like moment before impact. That's great. And then talking about feet. Okay. Just the building with his legs kicked out on the chair is too freaking funny. Oh wow, what happened here? Who's bombing the Phantasma now? Okay, they spelled floating wrong. Floating castle crashing into Eiffel Tower. I troll for you. I know you're typing like a mile a minute, but it is that is funny. A lot of the times the spelling errors don't really matter. It does it just fine figuring it out. But that's hilarious. That's too funny. And we got Kinky in like a kind of a prayer pose here. A couple of Kinky here. Let's see. All right, and that's the floating city in the Eiffel Tower. Nice. The floating castle with legs looks like it's ready for an interview. It does. This is bonkers. Like this is hilarious to me. Just the sheer chaos of everything that you're seeing here is so silly. Let's see. Look at this weird thing I found as a prompt from Ancient here. Style raw. And it's like when you find a bug and you post it to Reddit and you're like, what is this thing? That's kind of the metadata that it's pulling off of this. And the fact that it made like a creepy spider dude to hang out in front of it is like why I think that, right? Like, look at the spider dude. Be like, look, I found this weird bug, and there's
It's
yeah,
one of my
yeah.
favorite prompts to just insert a word into and see what it does.
That's great. Oh, that's too funny. I found abandoned doll is one of my favorites. It probably won't work very well for the floating city here, but look at what Legal Beagle prompted. Floating city Sokovia surrounded by flying Ultrons. I imagine those are all sci-fi IP Marvel stuff or whatever. I have no idea what that is. But it evoked again sci-fi, UFOs, that kind of thing. And it preserves it like a character, right? And you can use this in order to essentially control the establishments of locations, and we'll be getting into that a little bit with Phantasma moving forward, because every one of the lodges that we'll be setting up will have a physical location on in Phantasma, or at least in the world of Phantasma. So the Green Lodge is a specific building. The Black Lodge is a specific building, and we are essentially world building this stuff. Okay, hold on. Active 8 did a tattoo. Okay, all right, and I love tattoo prompts. They give you really cool results. Create a realistic tattoo image of a blue jay bird in flight, soaring. Also incorporate a yellow rose tattoo style realism tattoo. So on and so forth. But what if we said create a realistic tattoo? Don't give it any more context than let's just do realistic tattoo, and then add a CREF for Phantasma. It should be kind of photo bashy on its own, but then if we drop the character weight of that, it'll help a lot for making it look more like it's been recently tattooed on somebody. Um, Kiki, this is great. It kind of looks like you're in a dried up Venice, um, with the gondolas in the background and stuff. Let's see here. Floating city 3D little planet stereo. Let's see, stereographic projection orb scene, echoes of a ruin in the background. Yeah, very cool. And I love that whenever you do like the kind of orb photography stuff, it just really pulls the perspective of whatever kind of tall thing you're focusing on. So that was a great idea to throw that in there. I can't hear you now. If you said something, I can't hear you. Let's see here. Um, can I hear things in general? Let me test my mic real quick. Yes, I can hear things just fine. So it's
All right.
probably something on your end. I can hear you. Yes.
All right.
Dyslexia, my arch nemesis. I don't know what you're doing there, bud, but that's hilarious. Okay. Uh, oh wow, some of these floating cities look amazing. Um, yeah, I love it. I'm curious about the tattoo lady though. There it is. Oh wow, it's got a gun. It gave the building a gun. Let's take. I'm gonna. Oh, wow, there's a lot of. Oh no, you turned it. You turned Phantasma into a waifu. Um, I'm gonna upres all of these because it's just funny. But let's take a look at the tattoo. Whoa, is that the Chaos Portal? Yes. Oh, I love this. That looks so cool. Okay. Let's take a look at the tattoos here. Um, there's the gun. Well, I guess it's the Chaos Portal. I mean, look, we're gonna go through a couple different portals here, okay? Um, it'll be like Quantum Leap. Just different portal every episode. But this makes me laugh. Just the idea of like, you think you're lucky, punk, you know? Uh, it's too funny. Okay, is that a chicken? Oh, nice. Yeah, it's quite. Oh my god. just this alone as a result is too freaking funny to me. It's so silly, but this is what I'm talking about. Using inanimate objects as your character referencing is like it's like props plus. Like it lets you interact with props in a whole new way. And you can use it to evoke like props in people's hands, by the way. So I'm going to show you guys that next. But I'm going to take a quick breather to grab a little bit of my drink here, and make sure I don't lose my voice today. So just give me a minute here. I'm actually going to let this scroll, and I'll be back in about a minute.
Someone's got a neat bird tattoo. So I was trying to tell you earlier that I was doing town crier things. It would be a little unlike me to pray, but but yelling is like me. Absolutely. What is it like? 5 o'clock and all is well. That's what I was trying to do.
I see.
Yeah. MJH tools. I'm scrolling through the text feed.
I just it's bring out your dead is the first thing I think when I think of town crier. I'm like,
That's a good
bring
one.
out your
Yep.
dead.
They should have like a guy with a wheelbarrow full of bodies behind me. Because I'm not pushing the wheelbarrow. I'm just yelling about it.
That's what the municipal gnomes do. They got the wheelbarrows already. It what
That's
Legal Beagle's
exactly
talking
right.
about. Yeah, right. What Legal Beagle is talking about with the MJ doesn't know tools is that it doesn't know intent. It has trouble understanding like it could give you a hammer, it could give you nails, but it doesn't understand why the nails and hammer are there where they are. Like it just doesn't understand why things are being done in a specific order in a specific place, and that's just because this technology is still moving forward, it's still advancing. It'll only get better when it comes to that stuff.
You guys are so cool. I love all the stuff you make. Wish I could prompt. One day. One
You can
day I'll
prompt just
attend enough
fine.
classes. I literally attend classes, and that's what I do is sit in with them. But for some reason, I have this imposter syndrome about my prompting.
You're one of the best out there, Kinky. You just don't believe it. Like the sheer variety of the stuff you see alone makes
Yeah, that
makes your stuff
definitely.
interesting.
Well, thanks. I will let you continue, and I hope you
All
all have a
right.
great talk.
Well, thank you for chiming in. I really do appreciate that. Especially since I'm coming off of a sickness, so like at any chance for me to take a little breather is really well appreciated. So I do want to say here, as we kind of scroll through all of your all's results here, there's some really cool stuff that you guys have made here. I mean, take a look. Whoa, there's a big spike of people all of a sudden. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
I just checked
I
the daily theme.
thank you
So
so much.
also the daily theme might be related to this.
Okay, okay. Well, let's take a look at what the daily theme is as soon as we're done kind of scrolling through a couple of your results here. I love the municipal gnomes from Legal Beagle's kind of pet project for Phantasma is he wants to do like kind of the equivalent to the Marvel cleanup crew. So whatever stories we end up saying like official like releasing for Phantasma, um, is essentially going to, sometimes there'll be a couple destroyed buildings. Sometimes it'll, we do a bunch of magic shenanigans and it causes a part of Phantasma to fall apart. The municipal gnomes will come in and repair it all and fix it, and they literally like traffic cones on their head, like just he's having fun with it. It is one of those things that I think will remain server specific, like stay on the server for now, but we can have all sorts of fun of you guys reacting to the comic stories we tell, and then let you all diverge the stories in your own directions, preferably with your own OCs too. So If you do have a fantasy character, or you want to include a fantasy character inside of Phantasma, it's really easy to do. Um, you're first going to join my Discord in order to get access to the Chaos Portal. And the Chaos Portal you can find by jumping over to my Midjourney here, or sorry, my Discord here. And inside of that, you'll see the Fantasy Nexus. That's where all the official content is in terms of your style references and such. But the Chaos Portal is really exciting. It's where all sorts of different characters are being held. And I know that's a little awkward with this stretched screen here, so I'm going to pull this out here so you guys can see a bit better. Um, the Chaos Portal has tons of characters that even if you don't have one to get started with, you have access to it. And it's not just fantasy either. We have slice of life characters like from the Sage comics as well. I'm surprised. I am an hour and a half into this stream. I didn't even talk about the Sage comic that I released last week. But inside of the Chaos Portal, you're going to find all sorts of character references. We have Cozy Sage, who was revealed at the end of the comic from last week. But we also have Sage's cats now. So if you want just a cute, cuddly, little black cat, that's Fidget. If you want a grumpy gray cat who is constantly getting himself in trouble, you have Thumper. If you want like a dull-headed, like kind of dog-brained of a cat who's just kind of an oaf, right? He's a lummox. Then you have Pele here. And these three character references are all you need in order to build like your own Sage comic, basically, with the cats. So and I'll check out the daily theme in just a second here, but by submitting your characters to the Chaos Portal here, you're allowing other people to use those characters, and by submitting them to the portal, you actually can see the progress of those characters too. So let's go ahead and grab. Let's do Pele here. Pele is fun. Everyone loves Fidget. Everyone does. But I'm gonna do Pele today. We'll go ahead and grab the. Let's go to the bottom. Yeah, jump to present from the VC Create here. And I am just going to paste this. White Cat CREF. And then we'll do Niji6 just to evoke anime. What are you guys doing here? Silberberg Mosh. That's pretty cool. It's kind of like crystalline effect. Rough Diamond Octahedron and Floating Castle, both flying into each other and becoming a diamond in heart shape. Wow. It kind of did that. Kind of. Very cool, though.
Masha does a lot of diamonds.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Mm-hmm. He could be your diamond dealer in...
There you go. Phantasma's diamond dealer. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could think of a couple of jokes related to that. The idea of like a blood diamond, but it's actually made out of blood would be pretty cool. Things like that are the kind of fantasy stories I like to evoke, I guess. A little dark, a little, sometimes off-putting even. But I like stories that kind of put people in weird places, honestly. Let's take a look at Pele here. And look at that. It's just a cute white cat with a little scruff on his forehead, that kind of thing. Very simple. But if we wanted to evoke, Pele doing something, it could be just a white cat with a black tie dangling above it. The cat is reaching for the tie above it. Sure. We'll just be a little redundant with that. And then hit submit. And again, dropping the character weight on the cat will essentially let us be able to control. Look at this. It's already coming in. If it doesn't evoke enough of this cat doing the action that we want, then we just drop the character weight. But it did just fine. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. And you know, as Midjourney gets better, it just surprises the hell out of me in terms of like how little work I need to do in order to get what was in my head coming out of Midjourney. And just by zooming out a little bit here, we're going to be able to evoke the rest of the tie and stuff. And if it doesn't look as good as we want it to, then we just uh, then we just get rid of the character reference here. Um, Especially if the tie isn't like fleshed out, then we probably want to get rid of the character reference. Yeah, it did a pretty good job there. I would probably in paint a couple things, but there you go. So all those characters are saved inside of the Chaos Portal, and I heavily, heavily, heavily recommend that you guys submit not just characters, but also locations and props. Legal Beagle, for example, submitted the Fortune's Favor, which is a pirate ship from his D&D campaign that he plays with his friends. So maybe that ship that was in the D&D campaign ends up in Phantasma, you know, in the official series. We'll see. It creating locations is so much fun, right, Rhapsody? Like it really is. It really is so much fun to do. Phantasma was one of those deep dives. It was me going, holy wow, I'm getting some amazing stuff, but I'm never even mentioning medieval or any of the other tropes that come from prompting for that time period. I'm getting something unique and new because of style referencing. So what we can do though, just to kind of show you guys the power of this, inside of the official Nexus, I have the book. We kind of a joke about the Minnesota accent being very prominent inside of the gnomes. The book is essentially a character sheet for a book. All right, it's the fantasy spell book that will be rather important in the story as we go on here. And this is our little sneak peek preview from the series. It is still a rough image. It's not perfect. Her fingers are really kind of thin in one hand and not in the other. But I wanted to show you guys what happens when we use this as a character reference. So I will first open up all of these image links. They're don't you gnomes? Yeah, they are. There are certainly don't you gnomes. That's for sure. But we have these 4 images here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back over to VC Create. And oh, it's Pele with the castle. Oh, that's too cute. That is too cute. Yeah, I love that. Good job, guys. Good job. But let's give a character that we've done already and give it the book. See what it does to get the character to hold the book, move with the book, open the book, like that kind of stuff. It is something that will be a challenge this is like intermediate, I would say, in terms of challenge compared to some of the other stuff that we've done already. And so I'm just going to scroll through here really quick, and I'm just going to find a prompt with a relatively generic like pose for a character. So let's do like this one's pretty straightforward. It's not fantasy. It doesn't have to be, but it's from Ancient here. It's got a gun. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we are going to do variations. Very region. And then replace the character reference with 1, and I say 1 because we want to preserve the look of this book as much as possible. With one of the images from the book, we're replacing the character reference. Because of the angle that's here, I'm going to say, let's evoke this arm and then the front of the body. So she's kind of hugging the book. That's what I'm kind of evoking here. And then I'm going to grab the image that's the most in line with the angle. If I select this one alone, it will not see that as a book without saying it's holding a book or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 images. I'm going to grab this one here, replace that, link here, and then I'm going to grab the other image and also paste that here. Now understand, every time you do this, the more likely that your blends are going to lose cohesion or not necessarily hold to the look of the character. So if you are seeing that your character is not staying on model, it's what do you call it? When your character is not on model, you probably want to lower the number of links inside of your prompt just to start. It could also be that your prompts, the multiple images that you use to make up your character references, don't match. So there's a lot of variation between the results. You want to get them as close as possible in terms of style and all that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and replace the text now where it says it's got a gun. We're going to replace that with holding the book close to her. Just and if I say close to her chest, there's a chance that the filter will get angry with me. So I'm just gonna say holding the book close to her, right? And we'll let it work off of that. So we have 2 links inside of the CREF. We have a new prompt, and we've selected a region that should change her arm to bend and move with the book. But the thing is that there's one missing element here, which is that if her arm is intended to bend, the fabric in her outfit is also going to change. It's going to morph and distort. You could get away with this current in paint, but I'm going to actually select the shoulder as well in order to make sure that we allow Midjourney the creative freedom to bend that elbow and to bend that shoulder to hold the book. So I'm going to just submit this as is. It says character reference must be an image. So let's see where I screwed that up. Make sure there's a space in between this one, space in between this one. And see, I didn't put a space in between the 2 hyphens for the aspect ratio and the links. So I will now submit this. I have the opposite problem, says Ancient. I have far too many named characters. Yeah. Yeah, you got a pretty lengthy, depthy lore library. I'm a lot more loosey goosey about that stuff because I feel like for me it's more fun to just kind of riff off of your all's lore as opposed to my own, right? Just having fun with that. But a lot of people run their own Discord servers just to manage their characters. Just to see what sort of just to be able to quickly reference channels that are dedicated to specific characters. You can do that 100%. But you can see here that by using that book as the character reference with the 2 links combined, it did a bunch of wacky stuff. It basically looked at it as a big stack of books. She's not holding it, all that sorts of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double back. We're going to hit vary region again. But this time I'm going to drop the character weight to like 25. And then I'm only going to use that first image of the book. And the reason I'm doing that now, like just doing it as, now instead of looking at the results and then doing it later, is just because we are blending these 2 images together. And there's a good chance, just from my experience of working with these props, that that blend will not look like the book anymore. It'll look like some weird locket box kind of thing. So sometimes the results are good when you do blends, sometimes they're not. Solution, delete one of the character references, whichever one is the least like what you want, and it'll most likely bring it closer to your intent. And I can already tell that it's closer because it looks more like a book in the preview here. So you can see she's holding the book open in one of them. She kind of she's like her hand is missing, but it is about where you would imagine a book being held. Yeah, dropping the character weight on a prop helps a lot. So I'm glad Ancient linked this here because we were mentioning the lore stuff earlier. Context: small blue dots are named characters. The larger ones are the categories. And let me just to really evoke how neat this is. Look at how complex Obsidian is when it comes to just being able to link all these different concepts together, histories, character stuff. All those blue dots are characters of his. So love that. I love that. I've known real life film productions that have less complexity than that. Okay, cool. So from here, um, there's a lot of different ways that you guys can use inanimate objects as essentially characters. You can do it in a goofy way, like we showed earlier with the feet pics stuff. What does a building look like if it's giving you feet pics? Like that's hilarious, but it is one of those things that it doesn't show like the full context of the props. Like you really want to be able to find a combination of your character and the prop to really evoke the like the final result that you want. A lot of times I end up making what I'm going to be calling like an intermediate prompt, right? Like just something to give me an asset that lets me then use that asset as the character reference. So, for example, we're going to hop back here and we are going to try to evoke not the castle, but let's try to get look at the mouth on the building here. That's amazing. Wow. It's wacky. Um I love all the building prompts. All the Phantasma castle prompts. They're so cool. Um but what I want to find here is yeah, let's just grab Victor here. I think there was one of Victor. A couple of funny ones with the castle here. Okay, I have a look at the daily theme channel. Okay, all right, all right. I'll take a look at the daily theme channel. Um, where is? I keep forgetting how to get to there. No access. I don't have access to this link.
You
um.
have the daily theme opt out. I can fix that for you.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Should be able to see it now.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, all right. And then I do I write slash daily theme in order to get the theme? Let's see. I can probably get it with context. Citron. Is it Citron or what is it here? Oh, is it actually? Is it just Phantasma? Did you set the daily theme to Phantasma?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, okay. I'm down for that. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes, you were right that I needed to check this out. Jesus. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's open this up. On I see. Okay. It's under themed image gens. Okay. Okay. Themed image gens. There we go. And daily. Yeah. I'll just open it this way. Paste and go.
It'd be awesome to see you do as an S-ref next week, like the actual style reference that we use, and people making towns and stuff.
I would love that. I would love to basically say daily theme, style reference, Phantasma,
I
and
love it
yeah,
as a
and
C-ref too, though. I'm so excited.
watching all the daily theme guys do go nuts on this is so cool. Um, wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have to keep an eyeball on this one throughout the day then. So yeah, thank you, Ancient. You got me busy today. Um, I kind of want to make like one of those uh photo frames, right? That constantly shows a video feed. It would be neat to do one of just the Discord channel with AI stuff. So like one of these channels just dedicated and you just can see people prompting. And then dedicate each photo frame to its own channel. Um, I can, I can imagine Midjourney corporate having that as a wall. You know what I mean? Like if if there's a company wall with a bunch of video feeds of different
Oh,
channels.
Niji actually has a live feed of every generation through Niji. It's
Oh
wild.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Is that just on the Discord or is it on a website or?
It's a special thing they have that just goes directly into their office on a giant screen.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. Very cool. I love seeing all this stuff, especially anything that like evokes actual like phantasma with the floating city and I'm gonna have way too much fun digging through literal days worth of content. Thanks to just one daily theme change. That's amazing. Um, awesome guys. So from here, it is something that I'm curious from you guys. I'm just gonna let this scroll here. I'm curious to hear from you guys on VC text. I'm gonna jump back over to there. VC text. I want to hear what kind of characters uh you guys want to explore. Um, I recognize anyone could prompt anything they want right now, but if you guys have a character that you're having trouble with, that you're maybe you want to see my take on it, or maybe the take of a couple of the other power users that are here, you're more than welcome to to post inside of VC text the kind of characters you want to see us work on here. Any image will also be allowed. So, like, as long as it doesn't break the rules here, we can mess around with it. There's also a good chance that the image filters kick in if you guys get too risque about it. So, yeah, just anything you guys want, feel free to post in VC text. I'm gonna take another drink here for a moment while we scroll through all these daily themes here, because there's some really cool. Like I love seeing. It's kind of blowing my mind to see all the different phantasmas here. Hey, look, it's the Mona Lisa. It's Phantasma. Like things like that. Super cool. I'm very very curious what you guys end up doing with this. So I'll be back in a minute though.
I'm doing this thing where I accidentally touched something and now I have a YouTube video playing on my screen and I can't find it because all the tabs.
Oh,
But
sometimes, depending on your browser, there's like a little audio icon on the tab that'll show you which one's
mhm.
playing sound.
It's yeah, it's not there right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have an extension to just search through tabs, so because I usually have several hundred open at a time.
I need that link. I need all your links and resources. You got it going on, man.
Currently, I'm at a surprisingly low number of tabs, which is
What can-
330 across 15 windows.
Yeah, I probably have about 75 open and I recently cleaned them. Um, you know what I missed the other day though is I really started getting emotionally sad about the fact that Stumble Upon no longer exists as it used to be. I don't even know if it exists as the way it changed too. But and then I realized how much murder that would be on the tabs that I have open and how much my productivity. You guys remember Stumble Upon? That was amazing.
I was
Stumble
aware
Upon
of it,
was
but I
like
never used
it
it.
was my way of life. It was my way of life when it came to internet usage before Reddit. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Like why would they take it away? It was so unfair. Somebody
the
just needs to do a new one.
yeah, we should relaunch Stumble Upon as what it was. The thing is like I have nostalgia for it, but I don't know if people would use it today the same way. Also, the
I
internet
would.
is just a different place than it was then.
That's what style SREF random is to me.
You right?
It's like a it's got the same like vibe of finding something that's why I thought about it because we finally launched the SREF random and I was like, this kind of gives me Stumble Upon feels. Like I have to hoard all the results that I really love and like.
I could see that. I could see that. Having yeah, like you can see here, the style random will always output a unique code that comes out. So if you really do like it, the result, like for example, let's do one inside of the daily theme here, and we'll say you know, uh, Banana Man, because we did that on a stream before too. Banana
Mm-hmm.
Man, and then oh yeah, to Kinky's absolute delight, we did the that song, the Banana Man CREF, but then I'm gonna add an SREF for uh shoot, what were we doing actually? I just blanked on this. Let's see here. It was an SREF
Banana Man
for,
syrup.
but it really, yeah, it was, we're doing the CREF for that. Oh, that's right, random. My bad. CREF random. And what that's going to do is it gives us a code at the end of it. So if we like the result of this, we can just constantly refer to that code as like its own identity, basically. Um, Now, granted, we're doing some weird stuff. We have a building as a character reference, and we evoked Banana Man. So it's real wacky. Doesn't make much sense. But if I like this and I want to see, okay, now I want to see my character Victor in that style reference. So I'll do cref and then Victor because he's saved as a /prefer. And then I'll just say him as the prompt just to give us something, and then Niji6. Oh, that's right. It won't work with Niji. Character. The following prompts. Oh, that's right. I have to include. That's right. I have to do this outside of the daily theme. That's okay. Swap us back over to VC Create, and then I will use that style reference that we generated inside of here. CREF random? No, it's SREF random. Sorry about that. We're essentially using style referencing random in order to find a style that we like, and then switching to a different character. Yeah, CREF random would be cool. It would be neat if it just gave you someone different every time, and then if you had that code that's like the essentially their ID, right? Like they're like, it's almost like their social security number at that point. Yeah, it would be fun to get a character random. But you could see that what it essentially evoked from it for Victor was more like the composition and the intense redness of the background. That's not, none of that is inside of character reference at all for Victor. So that all comes from theoretically possible. I'll have to ask the devs. Well, if you need a library of characters, we're delivering it. So it would be funny if it was like yeah. Anyway, yeah, it would be funny if it was from like a set database of characters. So you could be, oh look, I got Banana Man. You know what I mean? And just be like, woo, it's a lottery. That'd be funny. Um, but okay, so at this point, guys, you see that we've played around with a bunch of new tools. We've played around with not only style referencing random, but we've gone through extent of character referencing, and it's so cool to see you guys messing around with this stuff, blending characters together, finding new characters to start referencing, and you're gonna find ones you really like ones that really identify with yourself, that give you a sense of identity within Midjourney. And it's very validating for me because I have felt that for a year now using Victor as through a very particular workflow. It's like 50 pages of just detailing how to hold consistency at Midjourney. But now with character referencing, you guys have it at one, it's one link away from getting a super consistent character. But you need to create the character sheets in order to get full control of every potential scenario or every potential expression of your character. And we didn't really get into that a lot today because we're messing around with a really weird concept of turning inanimate characters or inanimate objects into characters. That was my personal project for you guys today. Seeing all the cool castle stuff is just super cool. I can't wait to dig through Daily Theme more later. And I guess just one of the things that I want to say to you guys is, one, thank you so much for joining today. I will be cutting this stream off about an hour early than I normally do. I usually get off around 7 o'clock my time. It's almost 6 now. But I do want to preserve my voice because I'll be streaming on Twitch on Sunday. And the Sunday Twitch stream, I'm going to essentially dig through and start to do a lot of like drawing directly into the into Midjourney. Because I didn't really do it much on this stream. I didn't do it at all on this stream. Is draw on the tablet today, but the drawing streams are super fun. I hope you guys can join them. And they essentially let us be able to all draw together, right? Because we all use something called Magma in order to give us a shared canvas, and then the results of that we pump into Midjourney as image blends or character references, and you can essentially see your hand drawn art manipulated by Midjourney, and that's so cool. But I'll be doing that on Sunday, and if you come by my server, the Movie Machine server, you're welcome to join an after party. Yeah, Rhapsody will be hosting it. The show after the show. And it's just your chance to come on stage and ask questions and chat and hang out. Because my throat is a little sore, I'll be a little quiet, but I'll be there. You guys are welcome to come in there and check it out. But otherwise, I wanted to also thank you guys so much for giving me the week off. I know I said that at the beginning of the stream here, but it was my 20th anniversary this last week, and my wife and I very much appreciated being able to just spend time and do our own thing for a while. So thank you guys so much for that opportunity. Oh, thank you so much, Enid. I appreciate that, and she does too. She listens in on every one of these streams, so she's here. I'm not telling you who she is, but she's here. I love you, honey. And just thank you guys so much. I really, this is one of the best things about doing these streams is just proving that the community at Midjourney is the most powerful thing that's here. Oh, there she is. I heard her. She's responded. She said she'd love you. Thank you. But the main thing is that the community that's here is is where all the value is. We can generate pictures all day. Everything looks gorgeous. It's a great, sure. It's about the community. It's about you guys. It's about what you guys want to do with this stuff. And the value is about, is about you. It's about what you want to make with it. And seeing you guys have purpose and direction is so fulfilling for me, because when I got started with this stuff, you guys were all over the place, prompting who knows what. But now we have goals. Now we have ambitions and projects that we want to complete to get more people interested in what we're doing. And that's just so exciting. So thank you guys so much for joining. And now, Kiki said, and now I know how I'm spending the weekend not doing stuff. Exactly. Stumble upon. There you go. I hope you guys have, we know who she is. She is Sage. That is true. It's Sage is based off my wife's it's an OC based off of my wife. So if you're familiar with the Sage comics, which I didn't dig into at all here today, I'll do it next week, I promise. I'll probably have another comic ready by then too, so it'll be a double feature. By that time, the Sage comics are just like my most popular thing online. You can check them out at gnarlycomics.com. But we'll dig into that next week. I feel like I would burn myself out if I immediately dug into all the things I did to make that comic possible. But thank you guys so much for joining. I'll see you all on my server. But I'm going to leave it with Kinky to give some closing messages, some closing announcements.
And hello, I'm back. We are going to be doing prompt battles this weekend, and I hope you join us. It would be great for you and for me and for everybody else that plays. We're doing 16 hours like we always do every weekend. I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that. But we do 8 hours on Saturday and 8 hours on Sunday. And I mean, if you want to find a way to drop in for a few rounds, I would love that. I would absolutely love it. I'm gonna drop some links in the chat to that, and I hope you come by. Um, I'm gonna put the links in the chat because those run in your time. Whereas if I tell you that it's 10 to 6 Eastern on Sunday, and you might not know because unless you live on the East Coast, you may not know what time that means. So yeah, that was my big announcement. And oh, if you are new here on Midjourney, we also have a class on Saturday morning for your first prompt. Even if you might pick something up if you haven't prompted anything yet. I will also put a link to that in the chat for you. And that's the weekend. And I hope that you can be a part of it, whether or not you are feeling like you're committed and you want to hang out like my maniacs that do, or the maniacs that don't. Just come be a maniac with me all weekend. And I'll see you then.
Yeah, let's all be maniacal and wiggling all around. It is kind of a
Yes.
it's become a thing. It's become a thing that we need to get the VTubers up for you and Ancient just so that we can do the wiggle thing at the end. Just so everyone's wiggling. Yeah.
Gotta wiggle.
All right, guys.
Like
You'll
a
have a good
wacky
night.
waving inflatable tube person.
Exactly. Yes. We're all just wacky. Look at that. Look at the character in Phantasma. Awesome, guys. All right, I gotta leave. Thank you guys so much. You all are awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.